Alright guys, so we know that we've seen some nice new additions to the game so far. We've got the zombie computers working, a bombardment kill streak we can activate. But what about the new RCXD that they actually added into the game? We know they teased us about this a while back, but now they've finally been added to the game as a kill streak you can buy at the buy station. So how decent are they? What's the best situation to use them? I'll go over everything for you, how good they are, what kind of situations to use them in, the cons and the pros really to using it. Make sure you support my channel and like the video. Let's try and get 200 likes on it. I know you lot can beat that. Also let me know your thoughts on this RCXD. Do you think it's a trash kill streak in the game and you'd rather use a precision, or have you been using it and you've actually got some pretty good plays with it? Let me know. First off, the RCXD costs 3,000 and it's located at the bottom of the shop near the loadout, and I know a lot of you have probably accidentally bought this instead of your loadout. Try to remember where it is before you annoy your entire team like I've done multiple times. Now because this is a kill streak, you will only be able to hold one of 3. Cluster strike, good for covering an area someone's hiding behind like the trees or the rock. It's a little bit random where the missiles are actually going to hit. Next, you've got the precision and accurate airstrike, which is going to cover a direct area. Downing someone on a rooftop like I did here with Estrella, then calling it in. Normally when I like to use these. Then we've got the RCXD. Good for scouting and covering an area with gas to block off a certain area to avoid people going near it, or maybe you just want to flush out people who are hiding inside a building. If players or a bounty are hiding up in buildings, this is also a very good kill streak to flush them out with. So between these 3, you're going to have to pick between the situation you're in or the situation you'll think you'll be in. Another good shout is if you're playing trios or quads, have everyone equipped with a different kill streak for every scenario it could possibly play out. Now when you actually activate the RCXD, the controls are a little tricky to get used to. Turning is pretty sensitive, so do some test runs with this. Buy some early game and just practice a little bit to get a feel for it, because if you call this out mid-game, you're going to have trouble trying to control this thing. You have a jump option to get over certain paths or short walls. You can also use the boost option if you're chasing down vehicles with C4 or you want to avoid getting fired upon. The RCXD can be destroyed pretty easily. It's only going to take a few bullets, and if someone's using a rocket launcher, even being near that blast radius will completely destroy this thing. Once you detonate it, it's going to leave a big gas grenade type of smoke. It's going to be very visible to see if you've done this on top of a roof. You know, look from here, as you can see on Superstore, very clear to see that someone's obviously detonated one of these. The smoke will damage people and they won't be able to aim with their weapon or sprint for a few seconds. Their armor's going to break over time, and then it's going to start taking down their actual health, and it will pretty much force people to leave a certain area to avoid taking this damage. Having a gas mask equipped while in this gas is actually going to absorb the damage from the gas, but it is going to take the durability of the gas mask down, and that goes for even if it's you who's activated this gas yourself, still going to affect your gas mask. This can also leave other players open to get killed, as they're going to have the gas mask animation and they're not going to be able to aim down sight. From this clip you'll see we was in the final circle, and a lot of people at the end of the circle are going to find any building they can for cover. I pop out the RCXD, used it to scout around, and what do I notice? 2 rose skins inside this gas station. Oh, what's that? You wanted to throw down an armor pack? Wrong move, bud. Detonated it and ended up downing both of them. Seeing how they were in such a tight spot to just hold out for the last circle and kind of had nowhere else to run, they were basically trapped inside. I then went in to finish the remainder off and then continue to win the game. But it's situations like that where this RCXD can really shine. If you know people just hiding in them little buildings and you send this in, you are going to force them to come out of their building. Imagine it's last circle, you know, it's probably you and another team left. You're out in the open behind some stones. They're inside a building. This RCXD could be your only hope to either get an early push on them or just force them out of the building completely. Another good example of using the RCXD is these 2 targets. Me and my teammate are pushing near this house. They use the building as cover, so I use the RCXD to scout. My teammate goes down. I detonate the RCXD as a big distraction while I revive him. Now you'll notice here that the gas has pretty much covered this part of the house. I know his teammate has to go around the building just to get another angle to try and shoot me, because the gas is forcing him to change location. Also good because every time they take damage in that gas, I essentially know that someone is going to be around that area. It's going to give you a little bit of an advantage in team fights. Another great example to use this is with C4. Have a teammate running C4 on their loadout, and if you've both got good communication, you can tell them to detonate their C4 simultaneously with the RCXD or guaranteed down. This also applies with vehicles. Maybe you're chasing one down, you could just use the RCXD, tell your teammate to detonate it, and it's going to get a vehicle kill. Bearing in mind that their C4 is not actually going to destroy the RCXD, so you have to detonate at the exact same time. Kind of like what people were using with recon drones with C4. Same thing applies here. Get a teammate to carefully place a C4 on top and send it out to chase whoever you want with it. Make sure you're using that boost option to catch up with them. Another reason why I like the RCXD and what I've mentioned previously is it's an amazing scouting tool. Even if you're getting sniped from the hills vehicles and you can't see where the enemy sniper is, pull this out and just use it to scout people. You can ping them while using it. It also distracts the enemy who are going to try and destroy it, giving your teammates a little bit of an opportunity to snipe the players who are originally aiming at you. People will get an alert when it's called in and they're going to be able to hear it, so don't think you're invisible with this thing. If someone catches you, it's only going to need a few bullets and the RCXD is going to be taken out. And you're probably thinking, Middi, what's the actual cons of using the RCXD? And there's actually a few you should take note of. First is that the RCXD can be incredibly glitchy. Let's say you're in a team fight and you try calling this in. You need a certain amount of free space in front of you. If you're inside a building, let's say the bathroom in a building and there's walls everywhere, it's not going to let you call this in. It's going to pop up saying you're activating it. You're going to be standing there. You can't literally do anything and it's not going to call in, meaning you need way more space. Then you're going to have a hard time sitting there trying to activate it or repositioning yourself just to activate it, while your teammates are probably getting blasted on the other side of the map, wondering what you're actually trying to do. So make sure you've got a little bit of space when you try to call this in. The second con is yourself becoming an open target. When you open this up and actually start using it, your character is going to be completely still. I do suggest maybe going prone and hiding, maybe hiding behind a little bit of cover or even just some grass. If you're not hidden somewhere safe, you are open to get shot by pretty much anyone who decides to push you. Or let's say your teammates need you in a team fight, they're going to be a player down. So you're going to need to ditch the RCXD and go help them. So one of you are going to be out of the fight while calling it in. That's why I recommend using it early on, so you have the heads up advantage on the other team, or at least let your team know what you're actually trying to do. Now the third con is doors. Yes, doors. People can actually counter your RCXD simply by shutting the door, and there's going to be no way you're going to be able to open it. You can detonate it early if they're behind the door, because the gas is actually going to go through the wall, which is why it's so good to clear people who, you know, are camped up in a certain location. But stairs and doors are going to be your biggest enemy here. You can try boosting and jumping at the same time. Sometimes it works, but you need to get it right, and it's a little bit of a learning curve to practice. You'll notice how decent the RCXD actually becomes when you've called in the gas and you've forced everyone out of the building and your team are pretty much just picking them off one by one. It gives you the heads up and it does crack their shields. Well, that is kind of it for the RCXD, my little take on it. I like using this in game, or I like keeping it for the last circle. When I know there's a few buildings and I've checked the map, I will definitely carry an RCXD on me. If the situation was different and I think they're going to be on roofs, then yeah, I'll switch it around. I'll go for the precisions or the clusters instead. Depends on the scenario, really. But I do hope you liked the video on the RCXD. Just gave you some little tips which you can actually use in game to snag some free wins. Comment what you think about this. Are you a fan of using the RCXD? Are you having trouble controlling it like I did at the start? Let me know. If you'd like to see me do a guide on something else, maybe you want more in-depth information about precision airstrike, certain weapon, a lethal, or even, you know, clusters or anything else, let me know and I'll cover it for you. As always, I'll catch you a lot later.